The Social Anxiety Playbook, Proven Tactics to Build Connections. Written and published by Ciro Irmici. Feel free to subscribe for more content. Now let's get into the book. Introduction. Understanding social anxiety and your path to confidence. Have you ever felt like everyone in the room was watching your every move, judging every word you say, or silently plotting your social demise because you didn't laugh at that joke? If so, you're not alone. Welcome to the world of social anxiety, where every interaction feels like the emotional equivalent of walking a tightrope over a pit of hungry lions while wearing squeaky shoes. Social anxiety isn't just shyness turned up to 11. It's that inner critic whispering or sometimes shouting that you're not good enough, funny enough, or interesting enough. It's the sweaty palms, the racing heart, and the desperate desire to teleport out of any social situation faster than you can say, "I'm fine really." But here's the good news: you don't have to be stuck in this loop forever. This book isn't a dry, jargon-heavy manual that makes you feel like you're back in school, unless you loved school, in which case, lucky you. Instead, think of this as your personal playbook, a fun, practical guide filled with strategies, scripts, and tips designed to help you tackle social anxiety head-on. You won't find magical cures or unrealistic promises. What you will find are proven tactics to help you navigate everything from small talk to public speaking, all with a side of humor to keep things light. We're going to break down what's really going on in your mind when social anxiety strikes, and more importantly, how to outsmart it. From learning the art of small talk, yes, it is an art, to dealing with rejection like a pro, this book covers it all. Whether you're looking to make new friends, speak up in meetings, or simply stop replaying every conversation in your head like a cringy highlight reel, this playbook is here to help. So take a deep breath, grab your favorite beverage, and let's dive in. Because it's time to turn social anxiety into social savvy, and maybe even have a little fun along the way. Chapter 1. The Psychology of Social Anxiety. What's really going on? So, you've decided to tackle social anxiety, huh? Brave choice. But before we start dishing out tips, tricks, and all the clever comebacks you wish you had in your arsenal, let's pull back the curtain and take a peek at what's really going on behind the scenes in your mind. Don't worry, we're not going to get too sciencey or throw a bunch of fancy words at you, just enough so you know you're not losing it. Spoiler, it's not you, it's your brain. The mind's meanest DJ, negative thought loops. Imagine your brain as a DJ at a party. But instead of spinning your favorite tunes, it's stuck playing the same awkward, anxiety-inducing track on repeat. What if I say something stupid? Replay. Everyone's looking at me. Replay. Did I just laugh too loud? Replay. This DJ is the king of negative thought loops, and social anxiety loves to dance to this miserable music. These loops are driven by a cognitive distortion, fancy term for thinking errors, that trick you into believing things that aren't true. You might find yourself overestimating how much people are paying attention to you, hint, they're not, or assuming the worst in every social scenario. If I speak up, they'll definitely think I'm an idiot. Your brain isn't trying to be mean, it's just trying to keep you safe from embarrassment, rejection, or whatever social catastrophe it imagines. The brain's alarm system, fight, flight, or freeze. Ever felt your heart race, your palms get sweaty, or your throat go dry in a social situation? That's your body's alarm system kicking into high gear. Thanks to a part of your brain called the amygdala, you're wired to respond to perceived threats with 3 classic moves: fight, flight, or freeze. Back in the day, this helped our ancestors dodge saber-toothed tigers. Today, it's more about dodging eye contact at a networking event. When your amygdala senses a threat, like talking to your boss or introducing yourself to strangers, it hits the panic button. Adrenaline pumps, your body prepares for action, and suddenly, speaking up feels about as safe as wrestling a bear. The thing is, most social situations aren't life or death, but your brain hasn't quite caught up with modern times. Why your brain loves worst-case scenarios. Social anxiety is like having an overprotective friend who thinks every social encounter is a potential disaster. It's constantly on high alert, scanning for any signs of danger. Did that person just frown at you? They must hate you. Did someone not respond to your joke? They think you're boring. Did you stutter? Time to fake your own death and move to a remote island. Your brain is really good at predicting worst-case scenarios, and that's part of the problem. It's like having a mental meteorologist who always predicts rain, even when it's sunny. These catastrophic predictions feed your anxiety, keeping you stuck in a loop of fear and avoidance. The self-fulfilling prophecy. Expecting the worst, getting the worst. Here's the kicker. When you expect social interactions to go poorly, you unconsciously behave in ways that make it more likely. If you walk into a room convinced everyone will judge you, you might avoid eye contact, mumble your words, or fidget nervously. Guess what? People pick up on that energy. It's not that they're judging you, they just sense the discomfort and in turn feel awkward themselves. Voila! Your brain's prophecy fulfilled. But don't worry, this isn't a permanent state of being. Understanding these mental misfires is the first step toward rewiring your brain. With some practice, you can turn down the volume on those negative thoughts, reprogram your anxiety responses, and start feeling more at ease in social settings. The good news? You're not broken, just human. It's important to remember that social anxiety isn't a personal failing or a sign that you're inherently bad at socializing. It's simply your brain doing its best to protect you, even if its methods are a little outdated, thanks evolution. The more you understand what's happening inside your mind, the more you can start to take control. Social anxiety might be sneaky, but it's not invincible. In this chapter, we've pulled back the curtain on the psychology of social anxiety. The rest of this book will give you the tools to quiet that overzealous DJ, reset your alarm system, and rewrite those worst-case scripts. Because you deserve to enjoy socializing without feeling like you're walking into a lion's den every time. Grab your courage and let's keep going. Things are about to get a whole lot easier and more fun from here on out. Chapter 2. Reframing your mindset, shifting from fear to empowerment. Alright, so now you know your brain has been playing tricks on you like a bad magician at a children's party. But here's the magic we're aiming for, shifting your mindset from one of fear to one of empowerment. Think of this chapter as your toolkit for adjusting your mental lens, because once you start seeing things differently, the whole social anxiety monster starts to shrink. The power of perception, it's all in your head, literally. Ever watched one of those optical illusion videos where a spinning object looks like it's going one way but with a quick mental shift, you can make it spin the other way? That's perception at work, seeing the same thing differently just by changing how you look at it. Social anxiety works similarly. Most of the time, it's not the social situation that's the problem, it's how you perceive it. Let's say you walk into a party. Your brain's first thought, everyone's staring at me, I'm probably doing something wrong. But what if you flipped the script? What if instead you thought, hey, I've made it here and that's already a win? Suddenly the whole vibe changes. You're no longer the victim of the situation. You're the person who showed up, and that's worth a pat on the back. Cognitive restructuring, becoming the architect of your thoughts. So, how do we flip those scripts in real time when social anxiety starts to creep in? Enter cognitive restructuring, which sounds like a fancy psychology term but is really just about being the architect of your thoughts. Imagine your brain is a house and some of the rooms are a little messy. Cognitive restructuring is like deciding to rearrange the furniture, toss out the old ratty couch of self-doubt, and add a few bright, cozy throw pillows of positivity. Here's how it works. 1. Identify the thought. Notice when that negative voice pops up. Let's say you're thinking, I'm terrible at talking to people. 2. Challenge the thought. Ask yourself, is this really true? Always. Can I think of even one time when I wasn't terrible? Chances are, your brain will reluctantly admit that yes, sometimes you've actually been pretty decent at chatting. 3. Replace the thought. Swap it out for something more balanced like, sometimes I get nervous talking to people but I'm capable of good conversations. It's not about going from I'm awful to I'm the life of the party overnight. It's about nudging your thoughts toward the middle ground where reality actually lives. Positive self-talk, your inner cheerleader, not your worst critic. You wouldn't let a friend go on stage and bomb a karaoke performance without at least some supportive clapping, right? So why do we let our inner critic tear us down when we're the ones up there? It's time to fire that inner critic and hire an inner cheerleader instead. Positive self-talk isn't about lying to yourself. It's about giving yourself the encouragement you'd give someone else. Next time you feel that anxious voice gearing up to launch into its usual monologue, cut it off with something encouraging. Okay, I'm nervous, but I've got this. Even if it feels cheesy at first, that little boost can go a long way. Try practicing in front of a mirror or just saying it in your head before a social event. Yes, it feels awkward, but no more awkward than talking to yourself anyway, right? Soon you'll notice that your inner voice starts sounding a bit more like a friend and less like a judgy stranger. Visualization. Rehearsing success instead of catastrophe. One of the greatest tools in your mental toolkit is visualization. Essentially playing a mental movie where you're the star and everything goes well. Instead of imagining the worst-case scenario every time you think about a social interaction, you know that classic scene where you trip, spill your drink and everyone laughs? Start imagining things going right. Picture yourself entering a room confidently, making easy conversation, and leaving feeling good about the interaction. Visualization isn't magic, but it tricks your brain into feeling prepared. When the real situation rolls around, you've already mentally rehearsed success, making it much more likely you'll actually experience it. Reframing rejection, from personal attack to learning opportunity. One of the hardest parts of social anxiety is the fear of rejection. That, "oh no, what if they don't like me?" thought can send anyone spiraling. But let's reframe rejection. Instead of viewing it as a personal failure, see it as a stepping stone, a learning moment, or even just a sign that someone else's vibe didn't match yours. Every no isn't a reflection of your worth, it's just one person's momentary opinion. And let's be real, do you even like everyone you meet? Probably not. So why should you expect universal approval in return? When rejection happens, instead of dwelling on it, think, cool, next. There are over 7 billion people on the planet, and spoiler alert, not all of them are going to be your people. And that's okay. Turning anxiety into excitement. The energy flip. Here's a fun trick. Anxiety and excitement are super similar emotions. Physically, your body reacts almost the same way to both. Heart racing, adrenaline pumping, the works. So, when you feel anxiety bubbling up before a social event, try telling yourself, "I'm excited." It sounds silly, but it works because your brain is more easily convinced than you think. By flipping anxiety into excitement, you're not only reframing the emotion but also harnessing it as a positive force. Imagine you're about to speak in front of a group. Instead of thinking, "I'm so nervous," try, "I'm pumped to share my ideas." It's a small shift, but it can change the whole game. Practice makes permanent. Small wins add up. Finally, remember that changing your mindset isn't an overnight job. It's like learning to play the piano or mastering the perfect TikTok dance. It takes practice. Start small. Reframe one thought today, then another tomorrow. Catch yourself in a negative spiral and pause. Congratulate yourself for even the tiniest social win, like making eye contact or saying hello to someone new. These little mindset shifts add up over time, transforming your inner world from a place of anxiety to a place of empowerment. And before you know it, that overprotective, anxious brain of yours starts becoming a pretty good cheerleader. So, let's keep those mindset muscles flexing and get ready to move on to the next part of the playbook. You're already doing great. Chapter 3. Mastering the Art of Small Talk, Scripts and Strategies. Small talk. It's that awkward, dreaded thing we all have to do but often wish we could skip. For those with social anxiety, it can feel like the ultimate test of survival, standing there trying to think of something clever, funny, or at least remotely interesting to say without sounding like a malfunctioning robot. But here's the truth. Small talk doesn't have to be terrifying, and it doesn't have to be perfect. In fact, the best small talk is usually the simplest. Let's dive into mastering the art of small talk with practical strategies and a sprinkle of humor to make it not just bearable but maybe even a little fun. The purpose of small talk, it's not about impressing. First things first, small talk isn't about dazzling someone with your wit or winning a debate about the best pizza toppings. Its real purpose is to create a connection, break the ice, and signal that you're approachable. Think of it as the warm-up act before the main performance. You're not supposed to be delivering a TED Talk. You're just creating a bridge between strangers or acquaintances. Small talk is the social glue that helps us ease into deeper conversations, and understanding its simple purpose can take a lot of the pressure off. Instead of thinking, "I have to be interesting," try shifting your mindset to, "I just need to be present." The goal is to make the other person feel seen and heard, not to deliver the world's most memorable anecdote. If you've managed to smile, nod, and ask a follow-up question, guess what? You've nailed it. Starting conversations. The power of observations and openers. One of the scariest parts of small talk is figuring out how to start. That initial leap into conversation can feel like trying to jump onto a moving train. The key is to keep it simple and start with observations. Look around the room, there's usually something you can comment on. The weather, the event you're attending, the coffee in your hand, the fact that the elevator seems to have a mind of its own, anything can be a conversational gateway. For example, you might say, "I think I've seen this plant in every office I've ever been in. What's up with that?" Or, "I never know what to do with my hands at these things. Does anyone actually like mingling?" Light, observational comments are easy, low risk, and invite a response without putting too much pressure on the other person. Another great tactic is the compliment opener. People love being noticed in a good way, and a genuine compliment can set the tone for a friendly exchange. "That's a great jacket, where'd you get it?" Or, "I love how you organized your presentation, it made everything so clear," are excellent ways to kick things off. The trick is to keep it authentic. People can sense a forced or disingenuous compliment from a mile away. Keeping the conversation flowing. Listen, react, repeat. Once the conversation has started, the next challenge is keeping it going without awkward silences. Here's the secret. It's not about what you say but how you listen. Listening is your superpower in social interactions. Most people are so busy thinking about what to say next that they forget to actually listen, which is where anxiety often gets in the way. Focus on really hearing the other person, reacting naturally, and responding with a follow-up question. If they mention they just got back from a vacation, instead of jumping into a story about your own travel experience, ask them about their trip. That sounds amazing. What was the highlight for you? By keeping the spotlight on them, you not only take the pressure off yourself but also show genuine interest, which is incredibly engaging. When you're stuck, remember the basic structure. Listen, react, repeat. The conversation doesn't need to be groundbreaking. It just needs to feel like a back-and-forth exchange. Don't be afraid of pauses either. Sometimes a brief silence gives the other person a chance to think and share more. Handling awkward moments, laugh it off and move on. Let's be real, awkward moments are inevitable, even for seasoned conversationalists. Maybe you'll mishear something, stumble over your words, or accidentally cut someone off. These little hiccups are normal, and they're not the social catastrophe your anxious brain might make them out to be. The best way to handle these moments is to acknowledge them with a bit of humor and then move on. If you trip over your words, you might say, "Oops, I think my brain just hit a speed bump." Or if you accidentally interrupt, "I'm sorry, my enthusiasm got the better of me, please continue." A light-hearted acknowledgement makes you seem human, because you are, and signals that you're comfortable enough to roll with whatever happens. Awkwardness only becomes a big deal when you treat it like one. Most people are too busy worrying about their own social performance to dwell on yours, so laugh it off, keep the mood light, and steer the conversation back on course. Ending the conversation gracefully, the exit strategy. At some point, you'll need to wrap up the conversation, and ending it smoothly is just as important as starting it. You don't want to seem like you're suddenly bolting for the door or worse, lingering awkwardly with no clear direction. A simple, polite closing line is all you need. Try something like, "It's been great chatting with you. I'm going to grab a drink, but I'd love to continue this conversation another time." Or, "I need to catch up with someone, but I'm glad we got to talk." This lets the other person know you've enjoyed the interaction and gives you a clear exit without leaving them hanging. Having an exit strategy up your sleeve also reduces anxiety because you know you have a way out if the conversation feels like it's winding down naturally. Remember, ending a conversation doesn't mean you're rejecting the person. It's just a normal part of social dynamics. Practice, 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 building your confidence muscle. Like any other skill, mastering small talk takes practice. The more you do it, the less intimidating it becomes. Start small by engaging in brief exchanges with baristas, cashiers, or colleagues in the elevator. These low-stakes interactions are perfect for refining your approach. Gradually, you'll find yourself feeling more at ease, even in longer or more complex conversations. Remember, the goal isn't to become the world's greatest conversationalist overnight. It's to make small, steady improvements. Celebrate the little victories, like when you successfully start a conversation or keep it going longer than you expected. Each positive interaction builds your confidence and makes the next one that much easier. In this chapter, we've broken down the seemingly daunting task of small talk into manageable, actionable steps. From starting conversations with simple observations to keeping them flowing with genuine listening, you now have a set of tools to make small talk less intimidating and maybe even enjoyable. As you practice these strategies, you'll start to see small talk not as an obstacle but as an opportunity, one where you can connect, share, and maybe even have a little fun. So, go out there, make some observations, toss in a compliment or two, and remember, small talk is just a warm-up. You've got this. Chapter 4. Body Language Secrets. Communicate confidence nonverbally. Body language, it's like the secret menu of communication, often overlooked but oh so powerful. When it comes to social anxiety, your body can be a bigger blabbermouth than your words, silently broadcasting how you feel even when you're trying to keep it cool. The good news? You can learn to harness the power of body language to project confidence, even when you're feeling anything but. This chapter will teach you how to use nonverbal cues to your advantage, helping you navigate social situations with poise and ease. Why body language matters more than you think. You've probably heard the statistic that a large percentage of communication is nonverbal. Some estimates go as high as 93%. Whether that number is spot on or not, the takeaway is clear. Your gestures, posture, eye contact, and even the way you stand are all constantly communicating. This is great news for anyone struggling with social anxiety because it means you can work on saying a lot without actually having to talk more. And here's the kicker. Often how you carry yourself affects how you feel inside too. When you project confidence with your body, you're not just fooling others, you're also sending powerful signals to your brain. It's like telling your inner critic, "Hey, I've got this," even if you're secretly shaking in your boots. By tweaking a few simple things, you can start to feel more in control of your social interactions. The power pose: stand tall, feel tall. Let's start with the basics, your posture. Slouching, hunching, or folding in on yourself are all signs of insecurity, and they can make you feel smaller and more anxious. By simply straightening up, you send a signal to your brain that you're ready and capable of handling whatever comes your way. It's called the power pose, and it's your new best friend. Imagine you're a superhero, chin up, shoulders back, and feet firmly planted. This stance not only projects confidence to others but also helps reduce stress and boost your mood. You don't have to hold it all the time. Just remind yourself to reset whenever you catch yourself shrinking. Try practicing in front of a mirror to see the difference. Even just a few seconds of standing in a power pose before a social event can significantly affect how you feel going in. It's like your body's way of saying, "We got this." Eyes up, mastering eye contact. Eye contact is one of the most intimidating aspects of social interactions for people with anxiety, but it's also one of the most powerful tools you can use. Looking someone in the eye signals that you're engaged, present, and confident. On the flip side, avoiding eye contact can make you seem distant, disinterested, or nervous, none of which are the messages you want to send. The trick to eye contact is to find a balance. You don't need to stare someone down, that's just awkward, but holding eye contact for a few seconds before glancing away naturally can make a huge difference. Think of it like a rhythm. Look, engage, break. If direct eye contact feels overwhelming, try looking at the bridge of the person's nose or slightly above their eyes. It gives the impression of eye contact without the intensity. Practice with people you feel comfortable around first, like friends or family, and gradually work your way up. The more you do it, the less intimidating it becomes, and soon enough, maintaining eye contact will feel as natural as breathing. Smile even when you don't feel like it. A genuine smile is one of the most disarming tools in your social toolkit. It signals warmth, openness, and approachability, basically everything you want to convey, especially if you're feeling anxious inside. But here's the interesting part. Even a forced smile can trick your brain into feeling happier. It's all thanks to the feedback loop between your facial muscles and your brain. When you smile, your brain gets the message that everything's a-okay. Now, this doesn't mean you need to plaster on a fake grin all the time, but trying to smile when you're nervous can help lighten the mood for everyone involved, including you. Next time you're about to walk into a room, take a moment to smile at someone, even a brief one as you make eye contact. It's a simple gesture, but it creates an instant connection. The magic of mirroring, subtly reflecting others. Mirroring is a subtle yet effective way to build rapport without saying a word. It's the art of reflecting back the body language of the person you're talking to in a natural, non-creepy way. When done right, it creates a sense of connection because people subconsciously like others who are like them. For example, if someone leans in while talking to you, leaning in slightly yourself shows that you're engaged. If they're relaxed, try to adopt a more relaxed posture. Mirroring isn't about mimicking, it's about gently aligning with the other person's energy. It sends a message of "I get you," without you having to utter a single word. Be careful though, mirroring should feel natural and unforced. It's not a game of copycat, but rather a gentle dance where you adjust your movements to better sync with the person you're interacting with. Practicing this in low-stakes settings like chatting with a friend can help you refine your approach. Hands matter. What to do with them? Hands are often the unsung heroes of body language. They can communicate calm or chaos in an instant. When we're anxious, our hands tend to fidget, fold, or hide, sending a signal that we're uncomfortable. To combat this, focus on keeping your hands visible and relaxed. Rest them on the table, use them to gesture naturally when you speak, or loosely clasp them in front of you if you're standing. Avoid crossing your arms or shoving your hands in your pockets, as these can come across as defensive or closed off. Open, relaxed hand movements suggest that you're approachable and engaged. If you're unsure what to do with your hands, try holding a drink or a small object, something that gives them a purpose without making you look stiff. Personal space, the invisible comfort zone. Understanding personal space can make or break a social interaction, especially if you're already feeling on edge. Standing too close can feel invasive, while standing too far away might seem distant. The sweet spot is typically about an arm's length away, close enough to engage but not so close that you're encroaching on someone's bubble. Pay attention to the other person's body language too. If they lean back or take a step away, that's your cue to adjust accordingly. Respecting personal space is a subtle but significant way to make interactions feel more comfortable for everyone involved. Own the room, movement and placement. Where you position yourself in a room can also send signals about your confidence. Instead of clinging to the back wall or hiding in the corner, try to place yourself more centrally. It doesn't mean you have to be the center of attention, but positioning yourself in an open space shows that you're comfortable being seen. When you move, do so with purpose. Walk confidently even if you're just crossing the room to grab a snack. Avoid quick, nervous movements that can make you appear flustered. Slow, deliberate movements convey calm and control, which helps you feel more in control too. Fake it till you make it, embodying confidence. Finally, remember that confident body language isn't just about convincing others. It's about convincing yourself. Even if you don't feel 100% sure of yourself, adopting a confident stance, smile, and posture can start to change how you feel internally. The brain is surprisingly gullible. Act confident and soon enough you'll start to believe it. Practice in small doses. Stand tall while waiting for the bus, make eye contact when you order your coffee, and smile at the cashier. These little moments add up, building your confidence muscle bit by bit until projecting self-assurance becomes second nature. In this chapter, we've unlocked the secrets of body language, a powerful, often overlooked tool in your social arsenal. From power poses to eye contact, subtle mirroring to personal space management, each element helps you communicate confidence, even when you're feeling anxious. Mastering these nonverbal cues can change the way you interact with others, making social situations less daunting and far more enjoyable. So stand tall, smile, and own the room. You've got all the tools you need right here. Chapter 5. Handling Social Situations, from Parties to Public Speaking. We've all been there. You walk into a room and suddenly, it feels like every set of eyes is on you, waiting for you to do or say something, anything. Whether it's a casual gathering, a work meeting, or the dreaded public speaking scenario, social anxiety has a way of making you feel like you're under a microscope. This chapter is all about navigating these social minefields with confidence. We'll break down specific social situations, like parties, networking events, and public speaking, and equip you with strategies to handle each one with a little more ease and a lot less dread. The social minefield. Why certain situations trigger anxiety. First, let's address why some situations seem to supercharge our anxiety. It often comes down to a fear of being judged, making mistakes, or not living up to perceived social expectations. Your mind spins with questions: what if I say something stupid? What if I look awkward? Or, what if I have nothing to contribute? The good news? You're not alone. Everyone feels this way at some point. The trick is learning to manage these feelings so they don't control you. Social anxiety is often heightened in settings where there's unstructured interaction, like parties, high stakes, like meetings or presentations, or unfamiliar faces, networking events. By preparing for these scenarios with specific strategies, you can reduce the fear factor and engage more comfortably. 1. Parties and social gatherings, how to mingle without melting down. Parties can feel like the ultimate test of social skills. Loud music, lots of people, and unspoken expectations to be charming, funny, and outgoing. But parties aren't about impressing everyone in the room, they're about connection, however small. Here's how to tackle them without feeling overwhelmed. Set realistic expectations. The first step to surviving a party is to ditch the notion that you need to be the life of it. You don't have to talk to everyone, be the funniest person in the room, or stay until the end. Set a realistic goal, like talking to 3 new people or staying for an hour. Once you've met that goal, consider the event a success. This takes the pressure off and gives you a clear objective. Arrive early or with a friend. If walking into a crowded room is your worst nightmare, try arriving early. It's much easier to enter a space when it's quieter and gradually acclimate as more people arrive. Plus, early arrivals are often more approachable, which makes starting conversations easier. Bringing a friend can also help. They provide a safety net, someone you can fall back on when things feel overwhelming. Just be mindful not to cling to them the entire time. Use them as a launch pad to start mingling. Find the conversational sweet spots. Not every corner of a party is conducive to good conversation. Look for quieter spots where you can actually hear the person you're talking to, like near the snacks or a quieter corner of the room. Food and drinks also serve as natural conversation starters. Have you tried this? Is an easy opener. Have a few go-to questions ready. Instead of stressing over what to say, come prepared with a few open-ended questions that can keep a conversation going. How do you know the host? What's been the highlight of your week? Or, any fun plans coming up? Are simple questions that invite the other person to share more. It's less about being clever and more about showing genuine interest. 2. Networking events, turning awkward introductions into genuine connections. Networking events are designed to be social, yet they often feel stiff and contrived, especially if you're there with an agenda, like job hunting or making industry connections. The key to networking is reframing it from meeting important people to simply meeting people. Here's how to navigate the room. Prepare your elevator pitch. Having a concise introduction about who you are and what you do can make the initial moments of a conversation smoother. Keep it short, simple, and genuine. For example, "Hi, I'm Alex, I work in marketing with a focus on digital strategy." That's it. You don't need to sell yourself in the first 10 seconds. Look for open groups. When scanning the room, look for groups with open body language, people standing in a circle with space to join in. Avoid closed-off groups where people are tightly clustered. Approach with a smile, listen to the ongoing conversation, and jump in when there's a natural opening. Be a good listener, not a salesperson. Networking isn't just about talking about yourself. It's about listening and finding common ground. Ask questions about the other person's work, interests, or challenges. People love to talk about themselves, and being a good listener can make you stand out far more than a polished sales pitch. Follow up, but keep it casual. After the event, follow up with a simple message: "Great meeting you at the event. Let's stay in touch." Keep it light and genuine. No one likes a pushy follow-up. The goal is to keep the connection alive, not to immediately convert it into something transactional. 3. Work meetings, speaking up without spiraling down. Work meetings can be anxiety-inducing because they often feel like high-pressure situations where everyone's performance is on display. Speaking up in a room full of colleagues or higher-ups can feel daunting, but there are ways to ease into it. Prepare ahead of time. One of the best ways to manage anxiety is to come prepared. Review the meeting agenda, think about points you'd like to contribute, and jot down a few notes. Preparation gives you a safety net and boosts your confidence to speak up when the moment comes. Start with small contributions. If the idea of speaking up feels overwhelming, start with small contributions. Comment on someone else's point or ask a clarifying question. This not only shows you're engaged but also helps you ease into the flow of the conversation without the pressure of delivering a full speech. Use body language to signal engagement. Even if you're not talking, your body language can speak volumes. Sit up straight, nod when others are speaking, and maintain eye contact. These subtle cues show you're engaged and confident, which can make you feel more at ease and prompt others to invite your input. Reframe mistakes as learning opportunities. It's easy to beat yourself up if you stumble over your words or feel like you didn't make a perfect point. But remember, everyone makes mistakes, even the most confident person in the room. Instead of spiraling, reframe any missteps as learning opportunities. What went well? What could you improve? Each meeting is a chance to practice and grow. For public speaking, turning the spotlight into your stage. Public speaking often tops the list of people's biggest fears, and if you have social anxiety, it can feel like an insurmountable hurdle. But with the right preparation and mindset shifts, you can turn the spotlight into your stage, even if your heart is racing. Know your material inside and out. Confidence comes from knowing your stuff. The better you know your material, the less room there is for anxiety to creep in. Practice, rehearse, and then rehearse some more. It's not about memorizing every word but about becoming so familiar with your content that it feels natural to talk about it. Visualize success, not disaster. Your brain is great at imagining worst-case scenarios, but you can train it to envision positive outcomes instead. Before you go on stage, close your eyes and visualize yourself speaking confidently, engaging the audience, and ending on a high note. This simple mental exercise can help reframe your nerves into excitement. Start with a deep breath. Right before you begin, take a deep breath to center yourself. This helps slow your heart rate and gives you a moment to gather your thoughts. A calm, deliberate start sets the tone for the rest of your presentation. Focus on the message, not the audience's judgment. Shift your focus from "what will they think of me?" to "how can I best convey this message?" This takes the pressure off your performance and puts it on your purpose. Remember, the audience is there to learn, not to judge. Embrace the nerves. Finally, accept that nerves are part of the process. Even professional speakers get nervous. It's a sign that you care about what you're doing. Use that nervous energy as fuel to keep you sharp and engaged. Adapting to the moment. Flexibility is your friend. No matter the social situation, adaptability is key. Things won't always go as planned. Conversations might stall, people might interrupt, or you might forget your next point. That's okay. Social interactions are fluid, and part of mastering them is learning to go with the flow. Embrace the unexpected, and don't be afraid to laugh off minor hiccups. The more you practice these techniques, the more natural they will become. In this chapter, we've tackled some of the most anxiety-inducing social situations and broken them down into manageable parts. From navigating parties and networking events to speaking up in meetings and conquering public speaking, each scenario has its own set of challenges and solutions. Armed with these strategies, you're now equipped to face these situations with greater confidence and composure. Remember, it's not about being perfect. It's about showing up, trying your best, and learning as you go. You've got this, now go out there and own the room. Chapter 6. Dealing with rejection and criticism, building resilience. Let's face it, rejection and criticism are two of the biggest villains in the social anxiety story. The mere thought of someone disapproving of you or turning you down can feel like a punch to the gut, leaving you questioning your worth, your actions, and even your very existence. But here's the thing. Rejection and criticism are not only inevitable, they're also survivable. In fact, they can be powerful catalysts for growth if you know how to handle them. This chapter will guide you through the often painful, but ultimately empowering process of dealing with rejection and criticism, helping you build resilience and bounce back stronger every time. Understanding the fear of rejection and criticism. Why it hurts so much. Rejection and criticism sting because they tap into our deep-seated need for acceptance and belonging. It's a survival mechanism dating back to our caveman days when being part of the group meant safety and rejection meant danger. Fast forward to today, and those ancient fears still drive our emotional responses, even if the stakes are much lower than outrunning a saber-toothed tiger. When we face rejection, whether it's a job application turned down, a friend who didn't invite us out, or someone swiping left on our profile, our brains interpret it as a threat. Similarly, criticism, especially when it feels personal, can make us feel exposed and vulnerable, as though every perceived flaw is being highlighted in neon lights. But understanding why rejection and criticism hurt is the first step toward taking away their power. They are normal, universal experiences, not reflections of your worth or value. Reframing rejection, from personal attack to opportunity. The first and most important step in dealing with rejection is learning to reframe it. Rejection is not an indictment of who you are. It's simply an outcome of a specific situation, often influenced by countless factors that have nothing to do with you personally. Let's say you didn't get invited to a gathering. Instead of immediately thinking, they must not like me, try reframing it. Maybe they were keeping the group small, or perhaps it was a last-minute plan. The reality is often less dramatic than the scenarios our anxious minds create. Rejection says more about the circumstances than it does about you. Another powerful way to reframe is to see rejection as redirection, a door closing so another can open. That job you didn't get? It wasn't meant for you and something better is on the way. That person who didn't text back? They weren't the right fit, and you're now free to connect with someone who values you more. Rejection isn't a final judgment, it's just part of the journey. Turning criticism into constructive feedback. Criticism can feel like a sucker punch, especially if it's delivered harshly or unexpectedly. But not all criticism is created equal, and learning to distinguish between constructive feedback and destructive comments is key to handling it without crumbling. Constructive criticism aims to help you improve. Destructive criticism is often about the critic's issues, not yours. When faced with criticism, start by taking a deep breath and pausing before reacting. This gives you a moment to assess the feedback calmly rather than emotionally. Ask yourself, is there any truth in this criticism? Is it coming from someone I respect or who has my best interests at heart? Can I use this feedback to grow or do better next time? If the answer is yes, then as painful as it might be, there's value in it. Take what's useful, apply it, and let the rest go. If the criticism is baseless or delivered maliciously, remind yourself that it says more about the critic than it does about you. You don't have to accept every piece of feedback as fact. The power of self-compassion, being kind to yourself in tough moments. One of the most effective ways to handle rejection and criticism is to treat yourself with the same kindness and understanding you'd offer a friend. Self-compassion is about acknowledging your pain without judgment, reminding yourself that it's okay to feel hurt, and recognizing that everyone experiences setbacks. Instead of beating yourself up after a rejection or critical comment, try talking to yourself as you would to someone you care about. It's okay, this happens to everyone, or, this doesn't define you, you're still valuable. This simple act of self-kindness can make a huge difference in how you process negative experiences. Building resilience, bouncing back from rejection. Resilience is the ability to recover quickly from setbacks, and it's a skill you can build with practice. The more you expose yourself to situations where rejection is a possibility, the more you strengthen your resilience muscle. Think of it as emotional weightlifting. Each rejection is like lifting a heavier dumbbell. It's tough at first, but over time you get stronger. Here's how to build resilience in the face of rejection. 1. Desensitize yourself. Start small by putting yourself in low-stakes situations where you might face rejection. It could be as simple as asking for a discount at a store or introducing yourself to someone new. Each small act of bravery helps you get used to the feeling of rejection, making it less daunting over time. 2. Reflect, don't ruminate. Reflecting on rejection is different from ruminating. Reflection involves a thoughtful look at what happened and what you can learn, while rumination is replaying the event over and over, amplifying your negative feelings. When reflecting, focus on what you can control, your actions, responses, and let go of what you can't, others' reactions. 3. Set rejection goals. This might sound counterintuitive, but setting a goal to be rejected a certain number of times can actually desensitize you to the fear. For example, challenge yourself to get 10 rejections in a month, whether it's applying for jobs, asking people out, or pitching ideas. This gamifies the experience and reframes rejection as an achievement rather than a failure. 4. Celebrate the attempt, not just the outcome. Whether you succeed or face rejection, celebrate the fact that you tried. Trying takes courage, and every attempt, regardless of the outcome, is a step toward building resilience. Give yourself credit for putting yourself out there because that's what really counts. Handling negative self-talk after rejection or criticism. One of the hardest parts of rejection and criticism is dealing with the inner critic that loves to chime in afterward. It's that little voice saying, "See? You're not good enough," or, "You always mess things up." The trick is to catch these thoughts early and challenge them. When negative self-talk kicks in, counter it with evidence of your strengths and past successes. Write down times when you did something well, received positive feedback, or handled a tough situation gracefully. Keep these reminders handy and revisit them when self-doubt starts to creep in. Your inner critic might be loud, but it's not always right. Seeking support. You don't have to go it alone. Rejection and criticism can feel deeply personal, but that doesn't mean you have to process them alone. Reaching out to friends, family, or even a therapist can provide valuable perspective and support. Sometimes just talking it out with someone who understands can help lighten the emotional load. Don't be afraid to share your feelings or seek advice from people you trust. They can offer a different angle, remind you of your worth, and help you see that rejection and criticism are simply part of being human. Using rejection and criticism as a compass for growth. Finally, learn to view rejection and criticism not as walls blocking your path, but as signposts guiding you toward areas for growth. Each setback is a chance to recalibrate, learn, and improve. Did you get feedback on your work that was tough to hear? Use it to sharpen your skills. Did someone not respond the way you hoped? Use it as motivation to connect with others who will appreciate what you have to offer. Remember, the most successful people didn't get there by avoiding rejection. They got there by embracing it, learning from it, and using it to fuel their drive. Every no gets you closer to a yes, and every criticism is an opportunity to refine and grow. In this chapter, we've explored the challenging but transformative experiences of rejection and criticism. By reframing how you perceive them, practicing self-compassion, building resilience, and using feedback as a tool for growth, you can start to see these moments not as defeats, but as crucial steps on your journey. Rejection and criticism are part of life, but they don't have to define it. Instead, let them be the lessons that guide you forward, stronger and more confident than ever. Chapter 7. Mindfulness and Relaxation Techniques, Staying Calm in the Moment. Social anxiety has a sneaky way of turning even the most routine social situations into high-stress events. Suddenly, a simple conversation or a crowded room feels like a battlefield, with your heart racing, palms sweating, and your mind jumping to the worst conclusions. But what if there were techniques to help you stay present, grounded, and calm no matter the scenario? This chapter is all about mindfulness and relaxation techniques that can help you reclaim control in anxious moments, allowing you to face social situations with a clearer mind and a steadier heart. The power of mindfulness, bringing your mind back to the present. Mindfulness is a buzzword you've probably heard a lot lately, but it's far more than just a trendy concept. At its core, mindfulness is about bringing your attention to the present moment without judgment. It's the practice of noticing what's happening right now, your thoughts, feelings, and surroundings, without getting lost in what-ifs and should-haves. For those with social anxiety, this can be a game-changer. When anxiety kicks in, it often pulls your mind into the future or past. What if I say something stupid? Why did I just say that? Mindfulness helps break this cycle by grounding you in the now, shifting your focus away from anxious predictions or regrets, and placing it squarely on what's actually happening. Breathing techniques, your built-in calm button. One of the simplest yet most effective mindfulness tools is right under your nose, literally. Breathing techniques are like a built-in reset button for your nervous system. When you're anxious, your breath often becomes shallow and rapid, fueling the fight-or-flight response. By consciously slowing down your breath, you can signal to your brain that it's time to calm down, creating a ripple effect that soothes your entire body. 1. The 4-7-8 breathing technique. This technique is a go-to for quick relaxation. It's easy, discreet, and can be done anywhere, at a party, in a meeting, or even on stage. Here's how. Inhale quietly through your nose for a count of 4. Hold your breath for a count of 7. Exhale completely through your mouth for a count of 8, making a whooshing sound. And repeat this cycle 4 times. The extended exhale is key. It activates your parasympathetic nervous system, which is responsible for calming you down. With each breath, you'll feel your heart rate slow and your mind start to clear. 2. Box breathing, 4x4 breathing. Another great technique, especially for those moments when you feel overwhelmed, is box breathing, also known as 4x4 breathing. Inhale through your nose for 4 seconds. Hold your breath for 4 seconds. Exhale through your mouth for 4 seconds. Hold again for 4 seconds. Repeat this box pattern as needed. It's simple, structured, and highly effective at bringing you back to a balanced state. Grounding techniques. Anchoring yourself in reality. Grounding techniques are designed to bring your attention back to the present when anxiety tries to pull you away. These methods are especially useful in social situations where your mind starts to spiral. The goal is to anchor yourself in the reality of the moment, using your senses to shift your focus away from anxious thoughts. 1. The 5-4-3-2-1 technique. This is one of the most popular grounding exercises, and it's easy to see why. It's quick, adaptable, and engages all your senses. Here's how it works. 5. Look around and identify 5 things you can see. It could be the color of someone's shirt, the design on a coffee cup, or the pattern of the carpet. 4. Find 4 things you can touch. Notice the feel of your clothing, the chair you're sitting on, or even the texture of your hair. 3. Listen for 3 things you can hear. The hum of the air conditioner, distant chatter, or the sound of footsteps. 2. Notice 2 things you can smell. Maybe it's your coffee, someone's perfume, or the faint scent of the room. 1. Focus on 1 thing you can taste. Even if it's just the lingering taste of your last sip of water, this step helps complete the sensory circuit. This technique engages your senses and brings your mind back to the here and now, reducing anxiety by grounding you in reality. 2. Grounding objects. Sometimes having a physical object to hold or touch can serve as a grounding anchor. It could be a small stone, a stress ball, or a meaningful piece of jewelry. When you feel anxious, holding or touching this object can help bring your attention back to something tangible, reducing the sense of overwhelm. Progressive muscle relaxation. Releasing physical tension. Anxiety often manifests physically, creating tension in your muscles that you might not even notice. Progressive muscle relaxation, PMR, is a technique that helps you systematically relax your body by tensing and then releasing different muscle groups. This not only relieves physical tension but also sends a signal to your mind that it's okay to relax. Here's how to practice PMR. Find a comfortable seated or lying position and close your eyes. Start with your toes, curl them tightly, hold for a few seconds, then release. And move up to your calves, thighs, abdomen, chest, arms, shoulders, and finally your face, tensing each group for a few seconds before relaxing. Pay attention to the sensation of relaxation that follows each release of tension. This process helps you become more aware of where you hold stress in your body and teaches you how to release it, creating a calmer physical and mental state. Visualization, creating a mental calm space. Visualization is a powerful tool that allows you to transport your mind to a place of calm, even when your surroundings are anything but. It's like a mini mental vacation that can reset your anxiety response. Creating your calm space. Imagine a place where you feel completely relaxed and at peace. It could be a beach, a forest, a quiet room, or anywhere that feels safe and soothing. Close your eyes and picture this place in as much detail as possible. What do you see, hear, feel, and smell? Engage all your senses to make the visualization vivid and real. Whenever you feel anxiety creeping in, close your eyes if the situation allows, and mentally transport yourself to this calm space. The more vividly you can imagine it, the more effective it will be in helping you reset and relax. Visualizing success in social situations. Another form of visualization involves picturing yourself succeeding in the social situation you're facing. If you're nervous about a meeting, visualize yourself speaking confidently, making eye contact, and engaging positively with others. See yourself navigating the conversation with ease, smiling, and leaving the situation feeling accomplished. This mental rehearsal can significantly boost your confidence when it's time to actually step into the moment. The body scan, checking in with yourself. A body scan is a simple yet powerful mindfulness exercise that involves paying attention to each part of your body, noticing any tension, discomfort, or areas of relaxation. It's a great way to connect with how you're feeling physically and mentally. To perform a body scan, find a quiet place to sit or lie down. Close your eyes and slowly bring your attention to your body, starting from your toes and working your way up to your head. Notice any areas of tension, pain, or relaxation. There's no need to change anything, just observe. This practice helps you become more in tune with your body and can be especially useful for recognizing early signs of anxiety before they escalate. Mindful walking, a moving meditation. If sitting still isn't your thing, mindful walking can be a great alternative to traditional seated mindfulness exercises. The goal is to focus on the act of walking itself, how your feet feel hitting the ground, the rhythm of your steps, and the movement of your body. Find a quiet place to walk, indoors or outdoors, and begin to walk slowly. Pay attention to each step, the sensation of your feet lifting and pressing down, the swing of your arms, and the breath flowing in and out of your body. Walking mindfully helps release pent-up anxiety, grounding you physically and mentally. Journaling, a mindfulness practice on paper. Journaling isn't just about recording your day, it's a powerful mindfulness tool that helps you process thoughts and emotions in a tangible way. When anxiety feels overwhelming, writing down what you're experiencing can create a sense of distance from your thoughts, making them feel more manageable. Try a brain dump, where you write down everything that's swirling in your mind without filtering or judging. Or use prompts like, "What am I feeling right now?" or "What do I need at this moment?" Journaling creates a space to explore your inner world, and seeing your thoughts on paper often provides clarity that's hard to achieve in your head. The importance of practice. Mindfulness as a daily habit. Mindfulness and relaxation techniques are most effective when practiced regularly, not just in moments of crisis. Consider building them into your daily routine, even if it's just 5 minutes in the morning or before bed. The more you practice, the more these techniques become second nature, giving you a reliable set of tools to draw from whenever anxiety strikes. Start small. Commit to a short breathing exercise or a brief body scan once a day. As these practices become more comfortable, you can expand them, integrating mindfulness into various parts of your life. Over time, you'll find that staying present, calm, and grounded becomes less of a struggle and more of a habit. In this chapter, we've explored a variety of mindfulness and relaxation techniques designed to help you manage social anxiety in the moment. From breathing exercises to visualization, progressive muscle relaxation to mindful walking, each technique offers a pathway back to calmness and control. The next time you find yourself in an anxiety-inducing situation, remember that you have these tools at your disposal. Practice them often, use them confidently, and watch as your ability to stay calm in the moment grows stronger with each try. Chapter 8. The Power of Exposure, Gradual Steps to Comfort. When it comes to social anxiety, the instinct to avoid uncomfortable situations can be powerful, almost irresistible. It's like having an internal safety switch that flips on whenever you sense social danger, pushing you to withdraw, hide, or say, "no thanks," to opportunities that feel too intimidating. While avoiding social situations might offer short-term relief, it ultimately strengthens the anxiety, reinforcing the idea that these scenarios are threatening and should be dodged at all costs. That's where exposure comes in. Exposure is the process of gradually facing your fears in a controlled, manageable way, retraining your brain to see these situations as safe, not scary. This chapter will guide you through the steps of exposure therapy, helping you take small, deliberate actions that build your confidence and comfort over time. By embracing discomfort in a strategic way, you can reclaim your life from social anxiety, one small step at a time. Why exposure works. Retraining your brain's fear response. Avoidance is a natural response to fear. It's the brain's way of protecting you from perceived threats. But the catch is that every time you avoid a social situation, you reinforce the belief that it's something to be feared. It's like feeding a monster. The more you feed it, the bigger it grows. Exposure, on the other hand, starves the anxiety monster. It teaches your brain that the situations you fear are actually safe, which over time diminishes the fear response. When you expose yourself to anxiety-inducing situations gradually, you give your brain a chance to learn that the catastrophic outcomes it imagines, rejection, embarrassment, judgment, rarely, if ever, happen. And even when things don't go perfectly, exposure shows you that you can handle it. The goal isn't to eliminate anxiety entirely but to reduce it to a manageable level where it no longer controls your actions. Starting small. The principle of gradual exposure. The key to successful exposure is to start small and build up gradually. Think of it like climbing a ladder. You don't leap to the top rung right away, you start at the bottom and move up step by step. The same goes for facing your social fears. By breaking down anxiety-provoking situations into smaller, manageable tasks, you can slowly desensitize yourself without feeling overwhelmed. For example, if the thought of speaking up in a meeting terrifies you, you wouldn't start by delivering a presentation to a large audience. Instead, you might begin with smaller steps. First, practice speaking up in a low-pressure setting, like a casual conversation with a friend or colleague. Then you might try contributing a brief comment in a smaller meeting. Over time, as your comfort grows, you can work your way up to larger and more challenging scenarios. Creating your exposure hierarchy, a roadmap to progress. One of the most effective ways to approach exposure is by creating an exposure hierarchy, a personalized roadmap that outlines the steps you'll take to confront your fears. This hierarchy is a list of anxiety-inducing situations, ranked from least to most challenging. It serves as a guide, allowing you to tackle your fears systematically rather than diving in without a plan. Here's how to create your exposure hierarchy. 1. Identify your fears. Start by writing down the social situations that trigger your anxiety. Be specific. Instead of listing public speaking, break it down into smaller parts, like introducing myself to a group or asking a question during a presentation. 2. Rate the anxiety level. For each situation, rate how much anxiety it causes on a scale of 0 to 10, with 0 being completely calm and 10 being extremely anxious. This helps you prioritize which fears to tackle first. 3. Arrange from least to most anxious. Organize your list from the lowest anxiety rating to the highest. This is your ladder, your starting point will be the lowest rung. 4. Set small, achievable goals. Choose a low anxiety item from your list as your first goal. For instance, if making eye contact with strangers is rated as a 2, start there. Once you feel comfortable, move up the ladder to the next challenge. 5. Gradually increase exposure. Slowly work your way up the list, increasing the difficulty as your confidence grows. Don't rush the process, take it at your own pace. If a step feels too overwhelming, break it down further into smaller tasks. Facing the fear. Techniques to stay calm during exposure. Exposure can be uncomfortable, especially at first. The goal is to engage with the anxiety, not eliminate it immediately. Here are some strategies to help you manage anxiety while facing your fears. 1. Use deep breathing and grounding techniques. When anxiety spikes, grounding yourself with breathing exercises can help keep you calm. Use the 4-7-8 breathing method or the 5-4-3-2-1 grounding technique to bring your focus back to the present moment. This can prevent your mind from spiraling into panic. 2. Practice self-talk, reassuring your inner critic. During exposure, your inner critic might rear its head, feeding you negative thoughts like, "You're going to mess this up," or "Everyone's judging you." Counter these thoughts with positive self-talk. Remind yourself, "I've got this," or "It's okay to be nervous, I'm learning." Self-compassion goes a long way in making exposure less daunting. 3. Visualize success, not failure. Before stepping into an anxiety-inducing situation, take a moment to visualize a positive outcome. Imagine yourself navigating the situation calmly, smiling, and feeling proud afterward. Visualization primes your brain for success, making it more likely that your experience will align with the positive image you've created. 4. Reward yourself for effort, not just outcomes. Exposure is hard work, and it's important to acknowledge your efforts regardless of the outcome. Set small rewards for each step you complete, like treating yourself to a favorite snack, taking a relaxing bath, or simply giving yourself a mental high five. Recognizing your progress reinforces the behavior, making it easier to keep pushing forward. Handling setbacks. Learning from the missteps. Exposure isn't a linear path. Setbacks are a normal part of the process. You might find some situations more challenging than expected, or you might feel the urge to retreat back to old habits of avoidance. This doesn't mean you've failed, it simply means you're human. The key is to see setbacks as learning opportunities, not roadblocks. If you find yourself struggling with a particular step, pause and reflect on what made it challenging. Was it a particularly tough day? Did the situation catch you off guard? Use these insights to adjust your approach. You might need to break the step into even smaller parts or revisit a previous rung on your ladder before trying again. Each attempt, even the difficult ones, is a valuable part of the learning process. Embracing discomfort, the zone of tolerable challenge. When practicing exposure, it's important to operate within your zone of tolerable challenge. A balance where the situation feels uncomfortable but not overwhelming. This zone is where growth happens. If you push yourself too far too fast, you risk reinforcing the anxiety. If you stay too comfortable, you won't make progress. Finding that sweet spot of manageable discomfort is key. Remember, the goal isn't to feel completely at ease in every social situation. It's to expand your comfort zone bit by bit, allowing your brain to learn that you can handle discomfort without retreating. With each exposure, your zone of tolerable challenge grows, opening up new possibilities and freedoms. Real-life applications, examples of exposure in action. To see how exposure works in practice, let's walk through a few real-life examples. Example 1. Overcoming fear of networking. If you have anxiety about networking events, start small by attending a casual meetup with friends or colleagues. Set a goal to introduce yourself to just one new person. As this becomes easier, challenge yourself to attend slightly larger events, eventually working up to speaking at a small group discussion. Each step builds on the last, slowly increasing your comfort in networking scenarios. Example 2. Building confidence in group conversations. If group conversations make you anxious, begin by practicing speaking up in smaller, familiar groups, like with family or close friends. As your confidence grows, expand to larger groups or unfamiliar settings. Start by adding brief comments, then work your way up to sharing longer thoughts. The gradual exposure helps normalize group interactions. Example 3. Tackling public speaking fears. For public speaking, start with low-pressure opportunities, like reading aloud in front of a friend or practicing a short presentation at home. Gradually increase the audience size, present to a couple of friends, then to a small meeting and eventually to larger groups. By progressively exposing yourself to the fear, public speaking becomes less of a monstrous challenge and more of a skill you can manage. Tracking your progress. The power of reflection. Keeping track of your exposure journey can help you see how far you've come, even when it feels like progress is slow. Consider keeping a journal or a simple log of each exposure attempt, noting what you did, how it felt, and what you learned. Celebrate the wins, no matter how small, and reflect on the tougher moments to identify areas for improvement. Over time, you'll start to see patterns of growth. Situations that once felt impossible become manageable, and manageable situations become almost routine. These reflections serve as powerful reminders that you're capable of far more than your anxiety would have you believe. The long game, making exposure a lifelong practice. Exposure isn't a one-and-done deal. It's an ongoing practice that can help you continually push the boundaries of your comfort zone. Even when you feel you've made significant progress, keep looking for small opportunities to challenge yourself. The more you practice, the more resilient you become, and the less power social anxiety holds over your life. In this chapter, we've explored the power of exposure therapy as a strategic approach to facing social anxiety. By starting small, creating a personalized hierarchy, and gradually increasing your exposure to feared situations, you can train your brain to see these moments as safe, not scary. Remember, every step you take, no matter how small, is a victory against anxiety. With patience, persistence, and a willingness to embrace discomfort, you'll find yourself growing stronger, braver, and more confident with each exposure. Chapter 9. Building a support network, finding allies in your journey. Social anxiety often feels like a lonely battle, a constant inner struggle that makes it hard to reach out, connect, or even ask for help. But here's a truth that's easy to forget. You don't have to do it all on your own. Building a support network is not only one of the most effective ways to manage social anxiety, it's also a powerful reminder that you're not alone in your experiences. In this chapter, we'll explore how to create a network of allies, friends, family, mentors, and communities that can provide the encouragement, understanding, and practical help you need to navigate your journey. The importance of support. Why we all need a tribe. Humans are inherently social creatures. We're wired to connect, to share, and to support each other. But when social anxiety takes hold, it can feel like these connections are out of reach, as though everyone else has the secret password to a club you can't quite get into. The reality, though, is that everyone needs support, and finding your tribe is less about fitting in perfectly and more about finding those who appreciate you as you are. Having a support network doesn't mean you're weak or dependent. It means you're human. Your allies can provide perspective when you're stuck in your head, offer encouragement when you're feeling down, and celebrate your wins, no matter how small. They can be sounding boards for your anxieties, sources of practical advice, or simply companions who remind you that you're not alone. Support networks are particularly valuable because they offer a safe space to practice social skills in a low-pressure environment. They provide a buffer against the harsher sides of social anxiety, giving you the confidence to take on bigger challenges knowing you've got backup if you need it. Identifying your current support system. Before you start building new connections, take a moment to assess your current support system. Who do you already have in your corner? Think about friends, family members, colleagues, or acquaintances who you feel comfortable with. These are the people who lift you up rather than bring you down, who listen without judgment, and who you can count on when things get tough. If your current support network feels thin, that's okay. You might have drifted from some connections or have been hesitant to reach out due to anxiety. Recognizing where you stand is the first step toward strengthening and expanding your circle. Strengthening existing connections. Quality over quantity. When it comes to building a support network, quality always trumps quantity. It's better to have a few meaningful relationships than a long list of acquaintances who don't truly understand you. Start by nurturing the connections you already have. Reach out to friends or family members you trust even if it's been a while. A simple message or call saying, "Hey, I've been thinking about you, how's it going?" can go a long way. Don't be afraid to open up about your social anxiety with those you feel safe around. You don't have to go into every detail, just letting someone know, "I get nervous in social situations sometimes," can help them understand where you're coming from. Often, people are more supportive than you expect, and sharing even a small part of your experience can deepen your connection. Spending quality time with supportive people, even in small doses, can be incredibly grounding. It can remind you that you're valued and appreciated, even when anxiety tells you otherwise. Prioritize these relationships, make time for them, and let them know how much you value their presence in your life. Expanding your network. Finding new allies. Building a support network doesn't stop at existing relationships. It's also about seeking out new connections that enrich your life. This can be daunting when social anxiety makes meeting new people feel like climbing a mountain. But remember, you don't have to make a best friend overnight. The goal is to take small steps that gradually expand your circle. 1. Join interest-based groups. One of the easiest ways to meet like-minded people is through shared interests. Look for groups, clubs, or classes that align with your hobbies. Whether it's a book club, a hiking group, a cooking class, or an online forum dedicated to your favorite TV show. Interest-based groups provide a built-in conversation starter, reducing the pressure of figuring out what to say. Online platforms like Meetup, Facebook groups, or local community centers are great places to find these opportunities. Start by attending low-stakes events, like a casual meetup or an online chat. You don't have to dive into deep conversations right away. Just being in the presence of others who share your interests can be a good first step. 2. Volunteering, connecting through kindness. Volunteering is another fantastic way to connect with people in a low-pressure setting. Helping out at a local shelter, participating in community cleanups, or assisting at an event allows you to engage with others while focusing on a shared goal rather than on social performance. The act of giving back also boosts your mood, creating a positive cycle that makes future social interactions feel more manageable. 3. Support groups for social anxiety. If you're looking for people who truly get it, consider joining a support group for social anxiety. These groups provide a safe, non-judgmental space to share your experiences, learn from others, and practice social skills in a supportive environment. Many groups meet online, allowing you to participate from the comfort of your home. Support groups can be incredibly validating. They remind you that your struggles aren't unique, and that others face similar challenges. They also offer practical tips and encouragement from people who are on the same journey, making them a valuable addition to your support network. Cultivating deep, meaningful connections. As you build your network, focus on cultivating deep, meaningful connections rather than shallow interactions. Depth comes from authenticity, showing up as yourself, not as who you think others want you to be. This can be intimidating, especially when social anxiety makes you question whether the real you is good enough. But authenticity is the foundation of lasting relationships. Letting your guard down even just a little invites others to do the same. Share your interests, your quirks, and your honest feelings. You don't have to share everything all at once. Small acts of openness, like admitting you're nervous in a new situation, can build trust over time. Real connections grow from mutual vulnerability, not perfection. Setting boundaries, protecting your energy. While building a support network is important, it's equally crucial to set boundaries that protect your mental and emotional energy. Not every connection will be a positive one, and it's okay to distance yourself from relationships that feel draining, critical, or unsupportive. Your support network should be a source of strength, not stress. Pay attention to how you feel after interacting with someone. If certain individuals consistently leave you feeling anxious, criticized, or overwhelmed, it may be time to reevaluate the role they play in your life. Setting boundaries isn't about cutting people off. It's about creating space for healthier, more fulfilling connections. Don't be afraid to say no to social invitations that don't serve you or to limit contact with people who don't respect your needs. Your time and energy are valuable, and it's okay to prioritize relationships that uplift and support you. How to ask for support. Finding the words. Asking for support can feel vulnerable, especially if you're used to handling things on your own. But reaching out doesn't have to be a grand gesture. Start small. "I've been feeling a bit anxious lately, would you mind listening?" Or, "Can we meet up?" I could use a friendly face today. Most people are more than willing to offer their support. They just need to know you need it. Be specific about what you need, whether it's a listening ear, advice, or simply some company. It's okay to ask for reassurance. Sometimes hearing someone say, "You're doing great," is all you need to keep going. If the idea of directly asking for help feels too daunting, consider sending a text or writing a message. Expressing your thoughts in writing can feel less intimidating than speaking them out loud, and it still gets the message across. Giving back, the reciprocity of support. Support networks thrive on reciprocity. It's not just about receiving support but also about offering it in return. Being there for others, even in small ways, strengthens your connections and reinforces your sense of belonging. Reach out to check on a friend, offer a listening ear, or share a kind word. Acts of support, no matter how small, create a positive feedback loop that benefits both you and those around you. Helping others can also shift your focus outward, reducing the intensity of your own anxieties. It's a reminder that you have something valuable to offer, and that your presence makes a difference. This exchange of support is what makes relationships flourish and keeps your network strong. The benefits of professional support, therapists and coaches. In addition to friends and family, professional support can play a critical role in your journey. Therapists, counselors, and coaches offer expertise, strategies, and an objective perspective that can be incredibly helpful. Therapy provides a structured environment to explore your anxieties, work through challenges, and develop tailored coping strategies. Cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, for example, is particularly effective for social anxiety, helping you reframe negative thought patterns and gradually face your fears. If therapy feels like too big a step, consider joining an online coaching program or attending workshops focused on social skills or anxiety management. Professional support complements your personal network, providing an added layer of guidance and accountability. Staying connected, maintaining your support network. Building a support network isn't a one-time task. It's an ongoing effort that requires maintenance and nurturing. Make time for your relationships even during busy periods. A quick message, a short call, or a casual meetup can keep connections alive and strong. Show appreciation for your allies, thank them for their support, and let them know they matter. Check in regularly, not just when you need help, and be proactive about staying in touch. Your network will grow and evolve over time, and by maintaining it with care, you'll always have a reliable source of strength to lean on. In this chapter, we've explored the importance of building a support network as a key strategy in managing social anxiety. From strengthening existing connections to finding new allies, creating meaningful relationships provides the encouragement, validation, and companionship you need on your journey. Remember, support is not a sign of weakness but a testament to your willingness to connect, grow, and embrace the human experience. You're not alone, and with the right people by your side, you're capable of facing anything that comes your way. Chapter 10: Long-term strategies for maintaining progress and confidence. You've come a long way. By now, you've learned how to navigate social anxiety with practical techniques, built resilience against rejection and criticism, and even crafted a supportive network of allies. But as with any journey, the road doesn't end here. Maintaining your progress and confidence is a lifelong practice, one that requires consistent effort, self-awareness, and a willingness to adapt as you grow. This chapter will explore long-term strategies to keep your momentum going, help you avoid common pitfalls, and empower you to continue thriving in social situations, no matter what challenges come your way. The nature of progress: it's not linear, and that's okay. One of the most important things to understand about managing social anxiety is that progress is rarely a straight line. Some days you'll feel on top of the world, chatting effortlessly and enjoying social interactions. Other days you might find yourself retreating or feeling overwhelmed by situations that seemed easy yesterday. This is normal. Progress ebbs and flows, and accepting this natural rhythm can reduce the frustration that often comes with setbacks. Instead of viewing progress as a rigid path, think of it as a spiral staircase. You're continually moving upward, even if you sometimes circle back to old challenges. The key is to keep going even when it feels like you've taken a step back. Setbacks aren't failures, they're simply part of the journey. Maintaining your practice. Consistency is key. The strategies you've learned throughout this book, mindfulness, exposure, self-talk, relaxation techniques, are like muscles that need regular exercise to stay strong. Consistency doesn't mean practicing every technique every day, but it does mean incorporating them into your routine often enough that they remain effective tools in your arsenal. Create small, sustainable habits that keep you connected to these practices. It could be as simple as a daily breathing exercise, a weekly social goal, or regular check-ins with your support network. The more you weave these habits into your life, the more automatic they become, reducing the effort required to maintain your progress. Setting new challenges, growth through stretch goals. As you continue to build confidence, it's important to keep setting new challenges that stretch your comfort zone. Stretch goals are not about pushing yourself into distressing situations but about gently expanding what feels possible. If you've mastered small talk at casual gatherings, try engaging in deeper conversations. If you've grown comfortable speaking up in meetings, aim to lead a discussion. These incremental challenges keep your social skills sharp and prevent complacency. Setting new challenges also helps combat the "I've arrived" trap. The false belief that once you've reached a certain level of comfort, the work is done. Growth is ongoing, and by continually setting new goals, you keep yourself moving forward, maintaining the progress you've worked so hard to achieve. Tracking your successes. The power of reflection. Reflection is a powerful tool for long-term growth. By regularly assessing your experiences, you gain valuable insights into what's working, where you're improving, and what still needs attention. Keep a success journal or a simple log of your social interactions, noting both the wins and the areas that felt challenging. Celebrate every victory, no matter how small. It's these moments that build your confidence over time. Look back on past entries periodically. You might be surprised to see how far you've come, especially when anxiety tries to convince you that you haven't made progress. Reflection isn't just about noting the good, it's also about identifying patterns. Are there certain triggers that still catch you off guard? Are there situations where you feel more confident than before? Use these reflections to refine your strategies and set new intentions. Avoiding common pitfalls, staying on track. As you continue to manage social anxiety, there are common pitfalls that can derail your progress if left unchecked. Being aware of these traps can help you navigate around them, keeping you on a steady path. 1. Perfectionism and unrealistic expectations. Perfectionism is a sneaky form of self-sabotage. It whispers that you should never make mistakes, never feel nervous, and never show anything less than complete confidence. But the truth is, perfection is not only impossible, it's unnecessary. It's okay to have awkward moments, to stumble over your words, or to feel anxious sometimes. These experiences don't negate your progress, they're just part of being human. Avoid setting unrealistic expectations for yourself. Instead of aiming for flawless interactions, aim for genuine ones. Allow yourself the grace to be imperfect, and remember that it's okay to have days where things don't go as planned. What matters most is showing up, trying your best, and learning from each experience. 2. Avoiding discomfort. It's natural to want to avoid discomfort, but when it comes to social anxiety, avoidance reinforces fear. While it's okay to step back when you truly need a break, consistently avoiding challenging situations can erode your progress. If you find yourself retreating into old avoidance habits, gently nudge yourself back into action. Remind yourself of the tools you have, deep breathing, grounding techniques, and self-talk, and use them to push through the initial discomfort. 3. Relying solely on external validation. It's easy to fall into the trap of seeking validation from others as a measure of your worth or progress. Compliments, praise, and positive feedback feel good, but they shouldn't be your sole source of confidence. Practice self-validation by acknowledging your efforts and celebrating your progress independently of external recognition. Confidence that comes from within is far more stable and enduring. Building resilience against social setbacks. Resilience isn't just about bouncing back from big failures, it's also about handling everyday disappointments, rejections, and missteps with grace. One of the most effective ways to build resilience is through reframing setbacks as learning opportunities. When a conversation doesn't go as planned or an interaction feels awkward, instead of dwelling on what went wrong, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? View each social encounter as practice, an opportunity to refine your skills, test new approaches, and build confidence through experience. Over time, resilience becomes your default response, allowing you to face social challenges without fearing failure. Maintaining a balanced life, prioritizing self-care. Managing social anxiety is not just about navigating social interactions, it's also about taking care of yourself in a holistic way. Self-care plays a critical role in maintaining your overall mental health, helping you stay resilient and better equipped to handle anxiety. Prioritize activities that nourish your mind and body, whether it's regular exercise, healthy eating, sufficient sleep, or spending time in nature. Mindfulness practices, hobbies, and moments of relaxation are all essential parts of self-care that help you stay balanced. When you take care of yourself, you're better able to show up confidently in social situations. Staying connected, keeping your support network alive. Your support network is a living, evolving part of your journey, and maintaining those connections is vital for long-term success. Stay engaged with your friends, family, and mentors, even during periods when your anxiety feels manageable. Regular check-ins, casual meetups, and honest conversations keep your relationships strong and provide a steady source of support. Remember, support is a two-way street. Be there for others when they need you just as they've been there for you. This reciprocity strengthens bonds and creates a network that you can rely on through thick and thin. Adapting to new challenges, growth through change. Life is full of changes, new jobs, new cities, new social circles, and each new chapter can bring fresh challenges for your social confidence. Instead of fearing change, embrace it as an opportunity to grow. New environments push you out of your comfort zone, providing fertile ground for continued personal development. When faced with a new challenge, return to the basics. Use your exposure techniques to gradually acclimate to the new situation. Rely on your mindfulness practices to stay grounded, and tap into your support network for encouragement. Every new experience, no matter how daunting, is a chance to apply what you've learned and expand your comfort zone even further. Celebrating your growth. Recognizing how far you've come. Finally, take time to celebrate your growth. Acknowledge the courage it took to start this journey, the effort you've put into each step, and the progress you've made along the way. You've faced your fears, learned new skills, and built a foundation of confidence that will serve you for the rest of your life. That's no small feat. Create a personal ritual for celebrating your successes, whether it's treating yourself to something special, reflecting in your journal, or simply pausing to acknowledge your achievements. Recognizing your progress isn't just a feel-good exercise, it's a reminder of your resilience and your capacity to keep moving forward no matter what. In this chapter, we've explored the long-term strategies for maintaining your progress and confidence as you continue to manage social anxiety. By embracing the nonlinear nature of growth, setting new challenges, staying connected, and prioritizing self-care, you can keep building on the foundation you've established. Social anxiety may never fully disappear, but with these strategies, you can ensure it no longer defines your life. You're equipped, empowered, and ready to face whatever comes next, one confident step at a time.